Make money from home during the COVID-19 social distancing. We're going to talk about some kind of common ways that you can make money online from home. There's going to be a lot of information if you search and dig into these items. However, you'll also find a lot of stuff which I would think is kind of like junk, where you'll see titles like, make $10,000 in a day, just starting out, or make $1,000 a day type of title. So it's hard to decide what to trust when you're doing research on these items. So I've been working from home full time for 2 or 3 years now. I thought it might be worth going over some of these items, some of these platforms that are often used to make money online. My principal way to make money online is through teaching courses and content information. And so I do make, AdSense revenue, and then I make revenue from course sales on various platforms. I'm not going to be discussing that right here. However, I'm going to look at some of the other types of platforms because the course investment is usually something that's going to take a little bit longer for a return. So I'm thinking at this point in time, it might be something that people are looking for kind of a more immediate return, and that'll be a way to get some kind of feedback a little bit earlier and get used to some of these platforms, and then maybe work into some things that might take a longer time to return, such as, course creation and things like that. So we'll take a look at some of the more common or some common ways that we can get a fairly quick turnaround and the platforms that are typically used. We'll talk about tutoring platforms that I've used, and then Upwork and Fiverr. So here is the tutoring site I'm going to take a look at. I've worked with Varsity Tutors, and then we have Fiverr. Here is a website that you can take a look at, and then Upwork is a website to take a look at. Now, the reason I've grouped these together is because they're kind of similar in their nature, although they focus in on different areas. And that is that the platform is looking to basically be the middle person between you and the person you're going to be dealing with. Obviously, with tutoring, they're going to be looking to be the middle person and therefore get some fee to be the middle person, the exchange, the connector between you and the student. Fiverr, you're going to have a client, kind of like an employee-employer relationship, but it's a contractor type of based relationship. And so again, they're going to be the go-between. Same with the Upwork. So that's going to be kind of like the model with these three things. Now, the first thing I want to point out with any one of these are great tools because once you get a job, you can basically turn around, do a job, and get paid immediately. If you do. Now, I don't mean you're going to get paid the same day as you do the work, but the system, these platforms process the payment pretty quickly, and you don't have to go through the collection process if you were to have to do it yourself to have a receivable to go out there and then go through the collection process, because obviously the platform will go through that collection process for you, and you don't have that employee type of information where you have to have the withholdings and all that kind of stuff, because they're typically set up as a contractor, as if you were a contractor for them. Things like it would seem like it would take a lot of time to figure out and set up, but with the use of things like PayPal now, you can get paid online. You could take the money out of your PayPal account, put it in your bank account, and it works quite well. And most of the time, you don't have to be set up as an employee. You're set up as a contractor. Therefore, it's just a straight payment, and that's an easy process. The clear downside, of course, is that, if you were able to get the clients yourself for tutoring or for contracting work, then you can charge the higher price, and you wouldn't have to get the cut from the middle person, which is going to be the platform. So that's going to be the pros and the cons in general. So I'm imagining at this point in time, there's probably a lot of people that have, highly skilled areas, either in a subject such as tutoring, or they could be giving advice or whatnot, or doing work in some way, shape, or form to consulting or some other work that they could sell out as a contractor to individuals. The problem, of course, when working from home is the connection. How do you connect? And these platforms are basically designed for the connection. Now, just realize that you could, of course, set up your own platform, and you're going to think about this, as you do these, and think about the cut that's being taken out. And you can do that. You could set up like your own platform, such as a website like this, and just say, contact me on the website. And then you can use something like a Zoom meeting, because that's all you really need is to meet online, but also be able to display what you're showing for tutoring or for consulting type of work. That's basically all the platforms are going to be doing over here. And you can do the same thing. The problem is, how do you get traffic to your website here? It's going to be hard to pick up the clients. Once you get the clients, you can charge them basically the same rate they would be charged otherwise, and you'd get paid more because there's not going to be a cut from the middle person. So that said, that's why it's usually easier than whether you be doing tutoring or some type of consulting work from home to work through the platform, because they're gonna be the one that basically markets all the information, and then they're gonna be able to send that information to you. So it's really easy to work with the clients. And plus, if there's any problems or anything like that, they often go through the platform. The platform basically handles that. So all that type of work will typically go through the platform, and then maybe later on branch out to your own website as well. Now, the other thing I want to advise on any of these platforms, just note that as the internet grows, what happens is you'll see there's these networking kind of effects, meaning the companies that survive have the larger network. So, for example, if you're talking about a Facebook, another competitor can come in and possibly have a better platform, of course, than a Facebook platform, and might have a different angle, a better angle in some way, and it would still be almost impossible for them to get into the exact niche or market, because Facebook already has the network. They got all the people are already on and used to the platform. So once people are on and used to the platform and it becomes like the standard, then these platforms tend to get a monopoly of certain areas. So obviously, like a YouTube, it's pretty difficult to compete with a YouTube in that same area, or something like a Facebook and whatnot. So the same thing happens with these type of platforms. So if you're talking about teaching platforms that are public teaching platforms, or if you're talking about these middle person platforms as well, especially with like Fiverr and Upwork, like people already know these platforms. If you work online and you're trying to contract with people and you're trying to get people to do like computer skills or get people to do consulting skills, these platforms are well known. It's going to be difficult to go to other platforms. Now, why do I say this? Because what you don't want to do is sign up for these items and do it in a lazily kind of process, because what'll happen is if you get bad reviews when you start up, then it's not as easy as you would think to just wipe the slate clean. You can start a new account and start over again, but note that everything is becoming more integrated. So these platforms kind of know who you are, because you're linking this to your LinkedIn account, you're linking it to the other types of things. So what you want to do is decide whether or not you want to participate in these platforms, and then do it as well as you can. Take on the clients, and then you want to build up the ratings so that you'll be built up in the rating system. If you go in and you start off with low ratings and you don't start off well, it can be difficult to turn the account around, and you might think, well, I'll just start another account, which you may be able to, but it's not as easy as you would think, considering the fact that, again, these websites are interlinked with a lot of your other social sites. So they're gonna they'll be able to know that it's the same person, and they could block you based on that, even if you start up another account. So the first thing I would think is, well, is this something I really want to do? Do the research on it, and then if you do want to do it, do it well. Sign up, do everything they ask for to sign up the account. And even if you don't use it, if you say, hey, I'm not using it for a while, then that might not be a problem. What you don't want to do is take on work and do it poorly, because this whole thing is built on a system of stars and how well you've done and whatnot, and feedback and all that kind of thing. So that's one thing I would make sure to look into when you're considering these items. Now, the tutoring item, if we go through each of these, the tutoring, I'm not sure that in terms of, I know Varsity Tutor's pretty large. I'm not sure if they've completely dominated. There's other large tutoring companies as well. So I've worked with Varsity Tutors. Again, I should have an affiliate link or something, but I don't. So it's just so I'm not related to them in any way or getting money for any way for this. But I've worked with them before, and the way they're gonna, and they do have a big platform, and they were able to just get work all the time for it. Now the great thing about the tutoring, again, if you could get the tutor, then you can charge more, of course. But if you're tutoring from home, even if they don't pay you that much, it's really pretty easy to do. They just call you up and you jump online on their platform, and then you just tutor for an hour and you close it off. So that means that unlike other work, you're not doing any commuting time. You're not doing any added time, that you would be spending at the place. in a normal job. Here, they're just going to call you and say, hey, do you want this? Do you want to take this tutor now or not? Or you could set up the appointments for it. So like I say, it's not, they're not going to get a lot of money per tutoring job, but the money is consistent, and they paid, consistently. So, if you picked up the tutoring, you paid consistently. And you can also learn better ways to work with these online things, because the tutoring that they have here at Varsity, they use their own platform to sign into. And their own platform is going to be similar to something like a Zoom, which is something you can experiment with, which is like a free platform that many teachers and many meetings are using now. So it's good practice if they actually pay you to, if you get paid anything during this time, and you don't have any, to learn these platforms and how to use these teaching platforms, then I think that's a useful use of your time. And as you do that, then you can build up your skills and possibly be able to pick up a few clients. Again, what you want to very, very, very careful with all of these is your temptation is going to be, should I want to pull this person off the platform and get them onto my platform, give them my website and my URL to work with Zoom. And of course, the platforms get very angry at that, or that's what they're worried about, right? So the reason they're going to have you connecting and talking between their platform is because they typically do not want you to put your email. So if you put your email on their platform, saying, hey, contact me and we can do something, then they're gonna, they're gonna get mad. It's probably against their terms. It's almost definitely against the terms. So again, what you really want to do is build up your clientele here, learn everything from here, and then run your platform parallel, so that and then do your own marketing over here as you perfect your system, and then you can do your own marketing over here, and you're not trying to pull from from the tutoring platform over here, because that could get you in trouble with the platform, but rather, doing your own tutoring, possibly through a YouTube channel or your own kind of blog, pulling people into your own platform, and then you can use the tutoring platform to try to mirror, what you would need for good tutoring, right? Which means you need a good platform, and you need a connection, which you can do basically free with something like a Zoom type of software. So also, and then this is a quick little plug on the tutoring platforms. If you are an accounting tutor and you're looking for resources to help you with your accounting tutoring, we do have resources over here. So on our website. So if you're an accounting tutor and you want to do accounting tutoring for something like Varsity Tutors, and you want resources that can help support your tutoring online, then we may be able to give you access to our resources in exchange for using them with potential students who might want to engage with our accounting resources. All right, so that's our little plug here. Okay, and then Fiverr, between Fiverr and Upwork. Now, I've worked with Fiverr, that's why I have it first, because this is what I work with for my little jobs. Now, I usually hire people on Fiverr. Like I say, most of my work that I do online is actually with teaching platforms, but that's a longer return. But I've worked with Fiverr because I've needed help with jobs, like computer jobs and other kind of, updating and that kind of thing. And the Fiverr is going to be good for little jobs, usually like a one-time job type of thing, is going to be the idea on Fiverr. I've used other websites that don't have kind of like this middle person setup, because if I'm going to have a long-term job, like Upwork is usually set up more for a long-term job where you're actually going to be working with people for a longer period of time, a longer project, or have multiple jobs with them. And if that's the case for me, I'd like to go outside of the platform entirely. So I try to, if I'm going to hire someone as a contractor and have an extended relationship, I try to hire them where I'm not on the platform. So I don't have actually a lot of experience on either side of Upwork. However, I think Upwork's a really good place to start off. There's a huge network of people on Upwork. So if you have a skill such as teaching or something like that, they're really big on computer skills, of course, as well. But any kind of, even consulting and that kind of stuff is all, writing types of things. There's a ton of things online that are going to need writing for like blogs and whatnot. So you can take a look and you can review other people's sites on Upwork, and then build your profile. So there's a lot of information on how to build the profile on both Upwork and Fiverr. I actually think if I was to build a profile, that I would think Upwork would be the more reputable place you'd want to do it, because Upwork is really where it looks to me like you'd be building a longer term portfolio, whereas Fiverr is going to be a quicker type of job, like a one job where you're not really most likely working multiple times for the same individual. So you're doing quicker jobs, whereas Upwork, I think it's going to be designed more so you can work with the same individual in a longer frame of time. Now, these two, if you're working with these two, they're probably, because you're doing jobs on a contracting basis, they might be providing you more, you might like working for them as a contractor, because they might as the middleman, be able to deal with any kind of problems, any kind of refund problems, and that kind of things that might happen a little less likely to happen in a tutoring situation, maybe, whereas tutoring, if you can get the student yourself, if you were to pick up the student yourself, you could probably deal with any problems that happen, but if you're doing other kind of more complex issues where you could have an issue where someone's website goes down or something like that, then it might be nice to have some more, I guess, liability protection with the middle person working here. So it might be worth the cut that they take more in that sense. But you'll have the same kind of thing where they're going to be in there being the middle person, and they're going to not want you to be communicating off their platform. And that's going to be something you'll have to deal with, and you have the same kind of setup that you might want to make your own website parallel, and then use your own marketing to see if you can pull people to the website, that you can have your own clients as well as doing work on Upwork, running them parallel, instead of thinking about trying to pull people from an Upwork or something to your website, which could get you into trouble with the Upwork. And then just know, once you're in trouble with Upwork and Fiverr, then those are basically the main two kind of websites you can do this with. Right? Then you're left to doing your own marketing, which is possible but difficult, right? So what you really want to do is start here, build a solid profile, be happy with the cut that they have, even if it seems like a lot, and then run your stuff parallel to that, and see if you can draw people into that website as you go. Now, how can you start your website if you wanted to run this parallel? Well, you could use WordPress to do it. That's going to be like an open source type of software, but you need to get a domain to do that. The easier thing to do is to use something like a Wix. You don't actually own the website that way, but you can easily build one page. I mean, if your page is like, I'm a tutor and you're trying to draw people into that, and then you can make a YouTube channel or something that draws people to this page that just has your pricing and contact information, and you just say, hey, look, I use Zoom to have tutoring meetings online, and here's my contact information, here's my prices, and possibly too, if you're an accounting tutor, and here's the outstanding resources we have that we've partnered with over here, if you happen to do that. But and then you can draw people in, and Wix is a little bit easier of something to use than a WordPress site, and it's not on your own server, it's on their server, so that you don't have to deal with the hosting kind of problems, and how fast the website's going to go, and that kind of stuff, and which host has a faster website, and what kind of theme you're going to do. So you would think the Wix being on someone else's website is going to be easier to create. The downside is it's not on your, like, you don't really own the server, So, and plus, if there's a problem with Wix, then you could have a problem with the page. So you probably don't want to be creating on Wix some really elaborate, 10-page type of thing. But if it's just one landing page that you need to make the connection so that you can then use Zoom to do tutoring or consulting, then something like a Wix page would probably be pretty good. Ton of information on Wix, how to make a Wix page. Ton of information on how to do a WordPress site if you want to do that too. And then again, ton of information on Fiverr and Upwork. You just got to sort through it and see what is relevant information to what you want to build. So those are just my thoughts on it.